Hello everyone, this is Mishra Keller here, founder and director of NutriResults, where I help women, 40-something active women, get out of pain, get their lives back on track, and create optimal health for the rest of their life. So what I am here to talk about today, a lot of you have expressed to me that you are dealing with foot pain. So I am going to share my secrets to getting out of foot pain that are easy to do, that are quick to do, easy to add into your day, and they work. And we are specifically going to talk today about plantar fasciitis because there are a lot of you out there that are suffering from that condition. So sorry, my brain just went. All right, so I just have to apologize to you all. You should know by now that I've just finished teaching pound, so if I'm glistening or my clothes look a little sweaty, that's why. So you're gonna see here I have my normal roller, and then I've got a half roller here today. This is a weird angle on my camera right now. But I'm gonna just sit down on my half roller, and I'll explain how you use this half roller later. Okay, so what is plantar fasciitis? There are over 2 million people in the United States alone who are suffering from plantar fasciitis. So what is it? So it's basically an issue in the fascia that supports the bones of the feet. Okay, the bones and the tendons of the feet. So I'm going to use Mr. Bone Jangles here. I don't know if you can see this. And I'm going to talk about this little particular area later on if you can see this arch here, the natural arch in the foot. There's some bones, muscles, fascia in here that gets problematic, and I'm going to explain what that is later. So why does plantar fasciitis occur? It occurs, it's a multifaceted answer. It's not just one thing per se. So what are the things? Partly it's caused by an arch issue. So just this part of the foot that I just showed you, there should be a natural arch here in the foot. Oh, Mr. Bone Jangles, bend your knee. So you see there's that natural arch there. So that's part of the problem. It's partly caused by hip and postural instabilities. Now you may be surprised about that. Like, what do my hips have to do with my feet? Well, our bodies are all connected, okay? And I will explain a little bit more later about why those things are affecting your feet. Also from the bony structures that are found in your feet, sometimes you have issues with those. So you've got tiny muscles in the feet that support the arch, that support this arch here. And you've got fascial structures in here that also allow for elastic recoil. So what does that mean? So that's the springiness or the buoyancy of your feet, okay? So daily living can destabilize the tissue and destabilize that process of that elastic recoil. So what do I mean by daily living? I mean repetitive postures. So if you sit a lot, if you sit at your desk like this, typing, if you're on your phone, usually we're like this, typing. I actually posted a video on my stories yesterday. Someone named Girl Boss, I believe was the person, did this cute video about, I wonder why I'm having back pain now that I'm working from home. And then she showed all these shots of her like sitting like this, working on a computer. There was one where she was laying on her bed, working on her computer. There was one where she was laying straight out and her laptop was on her stomach and she's like this. So all of these repetitive postures and movements cause the tissue, the connective tissue, to become dehydrated. Fascia and connective tissue are kind of interchangeable. Fascia is like the scientific word for connective tissue, so you'll hear me kind of use that interchangeably. What else? Not getting enough sleep at night, stress in your life. Even healthy things like exercise cause the tissue to become dehydrated. So you want to do everything that you can to make sure that you are keeping your connective tissue hydrated as much as possible. And if you want a little bit more information about that, check out my IGTV channel. I do a video where I show you using a sponge as a visual aid and explain the differences between dehydrated tissue and dehydrated tissue and how that works. So this dehydration can destabilize the fascia's ability to have elasticity. And what do I mean by that? So elasticity is the ability to be able to stretch or change form and then be able to go back to its natural shape. When fascia is dehydrated, it loses its elasticity. It cannot stretch and move and change shape with you, because as you stretch and you move and you change shape, your fascia changes shape and moves and stretches too. Well, when you go back to your resting normal position, it should go back to its normal position. Dehydrated tissue has a lot of trouble doing that, okay? And so when you lose this, there's a balance between the stiffness and the elasticity of the structures in your foot and the tissues in your foot. And when you lose that balance, it can cause the tissue to overstretch, it can flatten out, and it can absorb weight too quickly, too much weight too quickly. And when those things happen, that is when you have a pain problem. All right, so I've explained why it occurs. What do you do about it? All right, so I think that the best way to approach this is through self-care and having the right tools in your self-care routine, okay? So that is really kind of the foundational thing. The other thing is rethinking how you feel about pain and what you think about pain. Pain is information, okay? You see those Advil commercials and they're like, we're gonna knock out the pain. It's like it's an enemy, you know? We're not the Avengers and we're fighting the aliens and Thanos, all that. We just finished watching that last night, so it's top of mind. So yeah, the pain isn't Thanos. The pain is giving us information, so we should embrace it in some way and say, okay, my body is giving me a signal. It needs something. What am I not giving it? What can I give it more of? What does it need? Okay, so that's the second thing. And then the other thing is you want to be mindful about your level of overall stability. Now, when I say the word stability, or if I say the word instability, a lot of people say, I'm stable, I can stand up. So most people don't realize that their joints are unstable. They don't know that until the muscles that are trying to stabilize the joints, which aren't designed to stabilize the joints, when they can't compensate any further and they can't do someone else's job anymore, and then they say, oh, sorry. And that's when you go to bend over to tie your shoe and you're like, my back. Or you wake up in the morning and like you can't turn your neck and you're like, well, what's happening? A lot of times the culprit is joint instability, and your body is having to compensate over and over and over, day after day, and your body is not designed to live in that compensatory state all the time. It's really kind of like the emergency. It's like driving with like trying to use your emergency brake instead of the regular brake on your car, right? It's not designed for that. Okay, so, and so the instability in the body, and you've heard me say this before in previous videos and on my posts, where the pain is not always where the problem is. A lot of times when you're having a chronic pain issue, oftentimes where the problem is far away from where the actual pain is happening. So you could be having instability in your hips and it's showing up as pain in your feet. So learning how to assess where you're having these instabilities and knowing how to correct those instabilities and make the joints more stable is one of the key ways that you can reduce your foot pain. Okay, so I've got 3 secrets that I'm going to share today. Oh my gosh, my little staple did not staple all the way through. Okay, what is the first thing? Now when I say this, you're going to be like, what? Is it really that simple? Yes, it's that simple. Untuck your bed sheets. Okay? Yes, I'm talking about your bed sheets. Untuck your bed sheets. When you are sleeping, you get your sheets are tucked at the bottom, not the top. I'm not talking about top. I'm talking about the bottom. They're tucked into the bottom. And you get in bed at night and you slide your little feet. How do you slide? You don't slide your feet like this and tuck sheets. You have to move your feet into plantar flexion, which is like toe pointing. You need to point your toes to get those things down underneath there. And then you're sleeping with your toes like this all night. When you shift to the side and your feet are in that flexion all night long. They're pointed all night long. And that shortens the tissue. So you want to make sure that you can keep your tissues lengthened, right? So just untuck your bed sheets. And the weight of the blankets is putting pressure on your feet in that pointed position, and that's one of the things that could be contributing to your foot pain problem. So untuck your sheets, stick your feet out the end. They get cold, just put some socks on. Easy peasy, right? All right, so the second one, I'm gonna have to do this like weird. It's not weird. I say weird. I'm gonna have to like do a weird shimmy into this thing to set this up. So bear with me. The second tip is something that's also very easy to do. Now, I'm going to use this half roller. This is the melt half roller. It's a specially designed tool for the melt techniques that we do. And if you don't have a melt roller, you could roll up a towel and do the same thing. It's not going to give you maybe not the exact same result, but it will get you started, okay? The other thing that you want to invest in is, this is like the Melt Performance Band. I think is what it's called, Melt Performance Band. But it's basically, I don't know, like one of those therapy type bands. And if you have one of these, you can use this. If not, you can DM me and I can help you get the tools that you need to do this. All right, so what we're gonna do, you're gonna tie it up on one end. You're gonna slip it over your body. And what we're gonna do, I'm gonna talk this through before I get up on the wall. You might not be able to hear what I'm saying. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna put your hips, put your pelvis basically on top of this roller. You want it at the top of the back of your pelvis. And you're gonna put your feet on the other end of this, and you're gonna flex your feet. So you're gonna straighten your legs. Then you're gonna kick your legs up on a wall, okay? And the idea is that this is not a passive movement, right? We're actually trying to change the way our bodies are engaging and the way our muscles are engaging and the way our fascia is supporting us. So you want to put your hips on the roller, put your feet on the wall, and you want to think of like your pelvis is kind of sliding off of the front of the roller. So your pelvis is kind of moving in more of a downward motion as your feet are flexed and your heels are pressing up towards the ceiling, okay? So you're kind of having like this oppositional kind of feeling of your hips spilling over the top of the roller as your feet are flexed and pushing your heels up. Then you're gonna wanna externally rotate at the hip. That is really key. You don't wanna just move your feet. You wanna externally rotate at the hip just slightly. That is gonna release some of those internal rotators that are causing instability down your leg, okay? And you really want to think of pressing the sides of your feet into the band rather than like the tops of your feet. So really externally rotating, pressing the sides of your feet into the band, pressing those heels up towards the ceiling, and your hips are spilling off the front. Now if you're doing this right, you're going to feel fatigue after about a minute of doing this. So I'm going to show you what this looks like. Bear with me if this looks strange at first. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead, move this knot on the side, and I'm gonna put my feet in this. Whoop, no, I'm not. I knew this was gonna be awkward, so if y'all just bear with me a second. Here we go, I need to get on the roller first. And, whew, this was so much more smooth when I practiced it. All right, here we go. I got it. I'm gonna move just slightly closer to the wall here. All right, so I got the half roller, the flat side is down, half roller is underneath my pelvis, kind of at the top of my pelvis. My hips are spilling down towards my feet or towards the wall. Now, I'm going to flex my toes back and I'm gonna think of pressing my heels up towards the ceiling. Now I'm going to externally rotate my hips slightly, so you're gonna so your whole leg. So it's not just your feet. You want to think of, you're going to externally rotate at the hip, and I'm think of pressing the outside of my feet into the band. So you just want to sit in this position, and it's an active position. It's not a passive position. You're really pressing those feet up towards the ceiling. And this lengthening is going to help, like I was saying before. Hello, I'm upside down. Like at night when your feet are in that the flexion, it's shortening the tissue. So this is really helping to lengthen the tissue. Okay? This is a really, really good one. This is like so easy. Like you could be doing this and like Instagramming, but don't multitask. Put your phone down. What am I saying? Just take a couple minutes for yourself and give yourself some self-care. I'm just saying, like, if you're busy, you're having a busy day, you feel like you don't have time to put this in, you could multitask if you needed to. All right, here we go. That's it. All right, so that is that exercise that you can do. Pretty simple, huh? It's a little awkward getting into it, but who cares? Okay. All right, so feet on the wall. Okay, first thing, we're going to recap. You're going to untuck your bed sheets. Second thing, you're going to put your feet on the wall using either the Melt half roller or rolled up towel and the Melt performance band, or if you have a therapy band at home. You just want to make sure that it's long enough for you to tie it and it's not like crunching your feet up. You should be able to extend your legs all the way when you use that. Okay, so the last tip, the last secret is to melt, right? Incorporate some fascia hydration techniques into your self-care routine. And what I love about the Melt method techniques is you're not only hydrating the tissue, we also have techniques to help with joint stability. Okay, so I'm going to share two moves with you today. The first one is kind of a riff off of what I just showed you. So I'm going to switch over. You can do this on the half roller also if you need to. In fact, I'll just show you. Oh, someone's joined my video. Who is this? Hello, how are you? I'm going to wave. Dimples. Hi, Dimples. All right, so we're talking about foot pain today, speaking specifically about plantar fasciitis because so many people are dealing with that. I'll just go ahead and show this on the half roller since that's the roller of the day. Okay, so you're going to want to put your hips on the roller on the widest part of the back of your pelvis, okay? And this is really, you really kind of know where this is on the bigger roller because it'll slide out from under you. But you just want to make sure when you bring your knees in, it doesn't have a feeling like it's going to slip out from underneath you. You also don't want the feeling that it's slipping up into your lower back. So on the widest part of your pelvis. All right, so now what we're going to do, we're going to put one foot down. I have something in my eye. One foot down. What we're going to do is called the hip to heel stretch. And it's very similar to what we just did with the feet on the wall. You're just doing it 1 foot at a time. So 1 foot is down, and even when you get on, especially when you first start melting, you can kind of practice before you do this move, tucking your pelvis and tilting your pelvis. So you can put both feet down and do it, tuck and tilt. This is another move that we do to help create differentiation in the movement in the pelvis, okay? So when this move, we want to be in a tilt position. So again, just like when we did the feet on the wall, you want that idea of the pelvis spilling over the top of the roller. Okay, so once you're in the tilt, you're gonna kick one leg out low and long, and you can't see my foot, but it's flexed. I promise you it's flexed. Flex the foot. Then you're gonna lift the foot up towards the ceiling. You're gonna stop before the knee wants to bend or before your leg gets perpendicular, okay? Just like what we did on the wall, you're gonna keep your pelvis heavy on the roller, so think of the pelvis spilling over the top of the roller in the tilt. Then you're gonna press your heel up towards the ceiling. So you're gonna feel a lengthening, you're gonna feel a tensional pull along the back of the leg. So you inhale, exhale, press that foot up toward the heel towards the ceiling, and then you're gonna inhale, ease back pressure slightly, and exhale, pelvis spilling over the top, heavy on the roller, the heel is pressing towards the ceiling. And then, of course, you just want to switch sides. Pelvis is still in a tilt. You're going to lift that leg up, and you're going to keep the pelvis heavy on the roller, pressing the heel towards the ceiling, really feeling that tensional pull along the back of the leg. And you'll be able to feel that tensional pull when you do it. Okay, so that's the same kind of lengthening. What we do, the idea is that we lengthen the tissue, and then when it goes to create that elasticity, right? It lengthens, and then when it goes back to its regular shape, you get a fill effect, and there's fluid that fills into the spaces. We just created more space for the fluid to occupy, and the fluid rushes in and fills those spaces in the tissue and hydrates the tissue. Okay, really simple move. Anyone can do that. So you can do that on the half roller. You can do that with flat side down or up. You can play with that, or you can do it on the full roller. I'm sorry, I'm moving a little slow today from my pound class. Okay, the last thing is, I need this one for this, the bunion treatment. This is one of my favorites because it is so simple. If you have bunions or you don't want to have bunions, you need this move in your repertoire. So I have this melt bunion band, and hopefully you can still, there's words at the bottom of the screen. I can't tell if you can see me or not. Hopefully you can see my feet. Yes. All right, so you're just gonna take this little band. You're gonna place it around your big toes, and just make sure that it's covering the bottom of your nail bed. So the place where the skin and the nail meet, that's your nail bed, you wanna just make sure that's covered up and you can't see that. You're gonna take your large soft ball. You're gonna place it in between these two knuckle bones where the toe connects to the foot, where your bunion normally is, or if you have the bunions, where it is. You're gonna place it in between that. You're gonna pull your heels together, and that is it. I mean, y'all, how simple is that? So, people have avoided foot surgeries using these techniques. You do want to make sure that you're also melting your feet. So it's a good idea to do one of the melt foot treatments first, and then do this technique, and you're going to get some great fluid flow in the tissue. You're going to create some space in these joints. You're going to help your brain know where your feet are. Your feet know what the brain is telling you, because that is the main problem with the bunions, is your brain and your body aren't communicating. Okay, so your brain doesn't know where your center of gravity is, doesn't know where the floor is, and it's just guessing. And your brain's telling your feet what to do. Your feet are like, I don't know what they're saying, I'm just going to make it up. I don't know where the head is. I don't know, I'm confused. And it's because your tissue is dehydrated. And when it's dehydrated, the information, the fluid isn't flowing, and therefore the information isn't flowing from brain to feet. And then you get bunions, and you put pain and you get bunions. So you can just sit here. You don't want to sit more than 10 minutes. That's when you kind of start getting diminishing returns. Even when you're doing stuff on the roller, especially if you're lying the length of the roller, 10 minutes is probably kind of the maximum. And then if you still need to continue melting, you just want to get off, take a break, then get back on. You can also do some fun things here. You can lift your toes, lift your big toes, and leave your little toes down. Put your big toes down, lift your little toes. That's a little bit more challenging to do. You can kind of work up to that. Or you can really just sit. But adding those other two techniques in are some other ways that you can do to restore some fluid flow into the feet and restore better communication and stability throughout your body. All right, so just to recap, my secrets to foot pain, particularly plantar fasciitis, are untucking your bed sheets. Yeah? Pull those covers out, let your feet stick out the end, or and wear some socks if you need. The second one is using that foot on the wall technique with your half roller and your melt performance band. And again, it's an active exercise, right? You're externally rotating at the hips, pressing your heels up towards the ceiling. So that's going to get some lengthening along the back of the leg. And then the third secret is to melt. Add some melt techniques into your self-care routine to help ensure that your tissue is hydrated, your body is supported, your joints are stable, and you can move and live without pain. If you are interested in learning these techniques and learning how to incorporate these techniques into your self-care routine, DM me today and let's schedule you for a 90-minute mobility session where we will look at your top pain points, your top health goals, and I will craft a program specifically for you to help with your pain areas, help relieve the pain in these areas, and also help with achieving health goals, other health goals, even if it's like weight loss, or if it's stress relief, or trying to sleep better, digesting your food better. Having healthy connective tissue does a lot because it is connected to all the other functions in your body as well. So we will look at your top goals. I'll craft a specific program for you. You're going to get tools. I gift you the tools. So when you book that session, you're going to get the melt roller and a hand and foot kit for free. I gift that to you. You're going to get PDFs that so that when we're not melting together, you can have reference points. And you're also going to get a week of Voxer messaging from me. So if you have any questions, you're in the middle of melting, you're like, where did she say to put that roller? You can message me and I can help you. And when you do a 90-minute mobility session, you're also going to get an invitation to my NutriResults Fit Club. And that is the space where we do all of our fun weekly classes. I don't know what that was. We do weekly classes, we do melt classes, we do our pound classes there. That's why I'm all sweaty. And we do meditation classes there. I offer monthly melt workshops, and you also get discounts. You get discounts on the group programs. If we do any special programs as a member, you get discounts on those additional activities as well. So we would love for you to join us. I'd love to help you with a private session. And please, if you have any questions, leave them in the comments, or feel free to DM me, and let's get you started. I'd love for you to get out of pain. You don't have to live in pain. It's not a foregone conclusion as we age. So DM me today and let's get you started. All right, thank you so much for listening, and I will see you next week. I haven't figured out what we're talking about next week. So if you have a specific thing that you need help with or you have a question about, DM me and maybe it will show up in an Instagram live in the future. All right, thank ya. Have a great weekend.